So, one thing I learned, the app thingy I use to do 3D stuff, it doesn't like translate the stuff, like the textures and the whatever. That's gonna be a thing I have to deal with. Also, so I have the text thingy. Oh, why is my tablet no longer? There we go. So I have like the pre-game stuff written out. Now I need the actual story. Now, okay. How about nope. This one. Nope. Which button does what? This one. There you go. This is what I know. I need to introduce the premise of the game. There is the pre-game, so during pre. Oh, it's like huge. One, two, three, four, five. Let me zoom in a bit. During pre-game, have unsettling. Oh, what the fuck was that? Unset. Unsettling. Well, there's like subtle, unsettling. Ah, okay. Oh, nope, wrong one again. Unsettling things. Flirting in the background. That's like the introduction, right? You're doing stuff. You're learning the mechanics of the game. You're doing mini games and stuff to like help ease it. But also, you see unsettling stuff like a lurker along the tree line, or like something like a movement past a window. Um, but what's the Big Bang? I don't know. What is the Big Bang? What is the thing that is gonna be like? What you know? Well, okay. Big. Oh my gosh, I suck at writing. Bang setting. Me get what I know. Should it be? Okay. So for one, pass sunset. So after the sun is set, um, mm, okay. Distant. Oh my goodness. Sound of wreckage. Then Yellow King Flush Free Me. So like see some unsettling stuff, blah 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 blah. Nothing really happens. Then the sun sets and you're trying to go to sleep or something. Then you start hearing like a whoosh, whoosh. Like this is a person yelling and a person screaming. I can't like it. Um, and then silent. Now, okay, so this, so let's break this off here and do monster lore. So you have the evil monster. Oh man. Oh. Yeah, here we go. You have the evil monster. Wink, 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 wink. And you have a town. So let's do it like this. Oh my god, I can't draw for shit. Can I just copy and paste this part? I don't want to draw this a bunch of times. One of these is like a move. This one. Okay, that's fine then. So, and let me put town here. So, you have the big bad, and you have the town. Now, let me Google this. I know of there is one small town I know, but it needs to be smaller than that. So, whatever population, Nebraska, 6,000 and some change. But 6,000 people is an uproar. Let's just have it be about 1,000. Town population is about 1,000. Now, that's a lot of people. If 1 out of 1,000 people survive, then 900 and basically 1,000 people are gonna die. It's a lot. A lot, a lot, a lot. Now, you have let me check. Winter solstice night length. Okay. Okay. So it happens during the solstice because it has the shortest day. You need the monsters to have as much time as possible. Now, the solstice, or let's just say for intents and purposes, it happens on December 20th. So there is generally a lot of a lot of festivity. What the fuck? Oh, let's do random. Cause I don't know. What color are the Christmas tree thingies? Who knows? Who knows? I don't know. So I'm just doing this. So, out of 1,000 people on December 20th, where there's Christmas lights and stuff up, and it's hmm, oh, oh, okay, okay. And it happens. This is me doing like the lore and stuff for the Big Bang. So all of this happens during a blizzard. Now this has implications. During a blizzard means like 99% of people are inside. Now, I say this because even during the blizzard, some places are going to be open. So the 1% are at overnight work. Overnight job. 10 people, that's like what? One for a gas station, like five for an or 24/7 McDonald's. And actually let's make it 2%. Let's make it 2%. 2%. That's 20 people just outside, doing whatever, middle of the night, or close to middle of the night. The sun went down already. Can actually check what time that happens. Oh, at 15:03. That's like 3 p.m. So the sunset. Let's do it right here. Sunset is at. Let's just make it a nice number. 15:15. Or actually, so it's 24 hours in a day compared to 60 minutes. Now, there are 4 6s in 24. I'm trying to so hold on. 15. That is 1/4 through the day. Now let's have it 1/4 of the day left, which would be 6 hours, which would be 18. So 18:15. Let's I go back. Let's have it be 20, which is a third of the way through the day, which is well, a third of the way through 12 is just 4. And it's 24, so it would be yeah, it's 8. It's 8. So 8 hours. 24 minus 8 is 16. 16, 20. That's 4:20. For shits and giggles, let's just have that be it. Now, I do want to put significance, like meaning on this. So, this is 1/3 towards the hour. 1/3 towards the hour. And this is 1/3. Let me move over here. 1/3 away from the day. Now, at the current moment, this means actually nothing to me. But later, I could probably make a lore or something reason as to why. So, sun sets super early. Now, the blizzard holds significant meaning. What does the blizzard imply? Low visibility, muffled sounds, low visibility, muffled sounds, tracks disappear. Visibility, muffled sound, tracks disappeared. Let me just continue this. People inside cozied up. People inside, cozied up. And there is no need for like to see outside or whatever. Like it's just a blizzard. And it's gonna be nighttime soon. So blizzard plus nighttime soon equals most have curtains slash blinds drawn, as in windows covered. So blizzard implies a lot. Most people aren't at work. Most people are inside. You can't really see outside. You can't really hear as much outside. And tracks and stuff of something moving eventually disappear. And people are inside, cozied up underneath a blanket or something. Maybe even a fireplace or something. And most have their curtains and stuff drawn. So unsuspecting town, most people inside, most people can't see outside, and it's going to be nighttime. Now, how do the monsters work? How do the monsters work? So, you have a house. Let's do it like this. You have a house. Let's say this is the door. The D-O-R-E. The door. This is the door. And the door is locked. And you have a person just sleeping inside. I don't have to do the blanket. Yeah, I'll at least do the pillow. So you have a person sleeping inside a house while it's. Or actually, no, let me do it like. Let me do it like. Oh wait, don't I have a? Don't one of these do something? This one. You. There we go. I could actually just unback. No, unback. There we go. Let me make this smaller. That's too small. There we go. You. Okay. Go back to this one. So, inside, cozied up. While the monster thing, let's just do it like this. Now, it's not gonna look like this. This is just temp. So, this is a situation. Most people in home, chilling or sleeping. And the monster thing arrives. And the doors are locked, the windows are locked. Now, let's say a rule for the monster. Rule for the monster. Rules for, and the monster name is Hirusich. Hirusich. 4. Hide. Run. Seek. And chase. Hirusich. Now, rules for Hirusich. Number 1. Cannot go through window. Can't go through windows. Why? Why? Let me zoom in actually. Something along the lines. They're gonna write all that out. Something along the lines of. Let me do this. There we go. Something along the lines of. I love how this symbol is the equivalent of. I think it's called like tilde or something. Something along the lines of. Well, there's like scrying mirrors. So something along the lines of opposite of scrying mirror. Opposite of scrying mirror. So it can't. Rule 2. Rule 2. Can not break through wall. Why? Something along the lines of a vampire rule. Now, these aren't vampires or anything, but it's like vaguely similar. Like it's a den or something. And one of the rules that they have imposed against them is that you can't, like, if a vampire could just take apart a house, it wouldn't need permission to get inside because it would just take apart the house, and now there's no longer a house to need permission to get inside. But not to be confused, these things don't need permission to enter. They don't. So then how do they enter? And I already talked about this on the TikTok thingy. Let me do this. How do they enter? Oh, bad handwriting. There we go. They just magically unlock the doors. But I hate that explanation. Magically unlock the doors is just such bullshit. So, Hirusich. Okay. Let's do a doorknob. Doorknob with the key thingy. Door. The door. And other And I think like the doors have it like this. You could just easily unlock it. With the let me zoom in. Wait, wait to the mechanism. So it goes like yeet, 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 yeet. Spring, bring, bring, bring in a separated thing, bird. Uh, wing, wing, wing. So, this is what the key mechanism looks like. Not really, but this is as close as my brain can approximate. It's like a bastardized key. Now, in order to turn a lock, these need to be pressed up in a certain way. But it's not fully restricted. That's the key thing. It's not fully blocked. So, to the eyes of a monster, when it takes its evil ass hand when it takes its evil ass hand and opens the door thing, the way it operates, its physical property of the universe is let's actually let's go to energy. Potential energy, okay? And let me just actually just go wait. Okay, so this is all in the same this is all the same thing. Actually, let me boop boop. It's too much. Boop. So, oh nope, still on erase mode. There we go. Potential energy. In particular, the I forgot what the name of it is called, but it's the height one. It is the one where you're holding a ball. That's a super fucked up hand. Let's just do it like this. Ramp, ramp. Ramp, ramp, ramp. With a mechanism thingy going like that. So the ball always has the potential energy. So the ball has the potent whatever energy to fall. The ball always has the potential energy to fall. Now, if the evil being And this is like a simple mechanism. Like it's not like completely blocked or anything. It's as simple as pushing this out the way. You can literally, if you wanted to, you can literally just take a force, use force to push push ledge back or ball to fall. So this is me explaining it. So the evil being decides to push down on the ball. Evil. No. What's the name of it? What's the name of it? So the hero siege pushes down on the ball, which has this inherent potential energy of falling. But you would think that an equal and opposite force would push back on the ball. Because this is here. This is here. If this wasn't here, the ball would have fallen and there would be nothing for the hero siege to push on. So the ball is not falling, the ball is at a false vacuum of sorts. The ball is in a false vacuum state. And the hero siege pushing on it, a property of the universe as is that it doesn't change the state it's in. Now, a property the hero siege has is basically the equivalent of poof of I really want to say eviscerating false vacuums, but it's more of I don't really know. So let's do it like one. Under regular terms. Well, let's just put usually, yeah. Usually when a flying force to the ball instead of it release instead of it releasing its potential energy, it instead does, I don't know which law it was, it does Newton's law of equal and only one L and opposite reaction. So you usually do. This has an inherent, and actually let me mark this. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This has an energy, a potential energy of 8. Now you apply force on it, and instead of this energy going down to 0, it instead applies a force up, which is weirdly counterintuitive. Because the force that's pushing back, that's pushing upwards, would it gives the vibes that it would add. So let's say energy of 1 and an energy of 1. You push 1 down, you get 1 up, which cancels out because it didn't move. It's an inherent property of the universe. If it doesn't move, whatever force you put on it, no matter what, if it doesn't move, there's a force canceling that out. Now, the energy, the blue energy, I'll get to the point. I'm just getting distracted by like the equivalent of like theoretical fake metaphysics or whatever. Now, 1. And this continues into this 1. Instead, however, the force applied by Rusich bypasses bypasses So it's not canceling out Newton's law or anything. Newton's law is still there. But whatever physics or whatever that this creature has, when it pushes down on the ball, like, how do I need more space to work with. I just, yeah, well, let's do it with this. So, regular physics, this has a 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This has a potential energy of 5. You push down with 1, and it goes up by 1. Nothing happens. There is a, so this is zooming in, there is a physical barrier where it pushes down, and no matter what, it can't get past this. Now, mind you, this can still move to the right, but that's just out of the equation. Now, you go to the exact same situation where the potential energy is 5 and everything. Now, Hirusich pushes down. And let's zoom in. Let's have this be like a hole. So there's a hole for this to go into. And there's the ball here. Now, because this has potential energy, I know I'm just like there's no need for me to actually explain or dive into any of this. I can literally just put by magic, it just opens the door. But enough of that. So it pushes down. And because of this, think of it like a lever. Think of it like a lever. So you have a rock, you have a lever, and let's say the rock is here, and the force is here. Due to the ratio of the level of the lever, it is easier for you to do it like this than if the lever was shorter or whatever. And I'm not really fully explaining. I'm like the vibes of just, yeah, kind of like a lever, kind of like potential energy, blah 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 blah. So it pushes like this is a closed system, by the way. So it pushes like this, and because this can potentially just be like this without that much effort, and because the ball can potentially be down here, the force is like super applied to here because of a kind of lever. So let's make this 1 and let's make this 10. Something. No, actually, let's make that 1 and make this 5. And actually, yeah, let's make it red. 1 and 5. So what it does, when it pushes down in a weird lever kind of way of reality itself, the potential energy of the ball, which isn't used, is then used to move this out the way. So that, because it's like almost an instant thing, so that when it pushes down on the ball, there is none of this. It pushes down on the ball and it never has the force that comes, it never has the equal and opposite force, completely bypassing. And so if it pushes, like, I don't know, it's really weird to describe it. I'm trying to describe it and I'm not like, how do I put it? So it's like you're trying to pick up a bat and trying to hit a wall with it. For all purposes, the most the bat can do is barely touch the wall, but when it's touching the wall, there is zero force applied to the bat. The wall instead moves away from the bat with the same same geometric positioning of like the bat. So I'll still use the ball. You have the ball, you have the wall. You push against the ball and you would expect the wall to push back. But instead, the wall just moves the exact same thing as this. It moves out the way. It doesn't just move with it, it moves out the way. So when this pushes down against this, it's not like this slowly goes back in. Like, no, it moves out the way. Like, it's neutrally touching it, but that's it. No force of the ball is applied to this anymore, and no force of the wall is applied back at the ball at all. And That's a lot of explanation. But all of this to say, all, all of all of this nonsense to say that when I just hate how I had to do all of this just to be like, okay, and this is why locked doors don't do anything for it. It feels so stupid. Anyway, and that's why when it when it goes to open a door, the force it uses to turn and whatever is just applied to these. If your door is mechanical in any way, no electrical pieces, all of that stuff. If it is mechanical in any way, even if even if you can't pick it, even if it's physically impossible to pick it, and all that nonsense, you could have the most secure vault on the planet, where a tank couldn't drive through it, and where you need 5 billion different kind of keys at once in this order. It doesn't matter. This thing just applies force, and then boom, it's like the door isn't even locked for it. And that is, all of that is how it enters. All of this is why, all of this is the explanation as to why it's just easily able to open doors. Awesome. Awesome. You know, me doing this is actually like the biggest reason why I never really delved into, because there's a bunch of Mon games. Pokemon, Koromon, it's the only ones I know. And I was like, okay, I actually would want to do like my own kind of Pokemon game. And I progressed really far, and then I got into the physics of how something can be stored in something else. And I got so bogged down in the details. And like, see, with this, notice how I'm not like looking anything up. How like this is just vibe based. This is the vibes of, yeah, that could, okay. Like it's basically still magic, but now the magic kind of has an explanation. With the Pokemon thing, I was like, okay, so you need to be able to store the face. Oh, the whole thing. Dealing with spaces and tunneling and a bunch of other stuff. And I was just like, no, I just want to make a Pokemon-ish game. Why do I have to worry about else? Whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So yeah, locked doors are nothing for this. But that goes into the other thing. Which is opposite force. So I did all of this stuff, right? Did all of this stuff. But what if, let's say you have a door, so you have a door, but it is a barricaded door. And from a different perspective, the door would look like this. So when the being goes to push on the door, so when the being goes to push on the door to open it. And let's say you have middle things on the wall like this, so this doesn't move out of place. It is physically impossible, based off of the physics of the creature, to push up against that. It cannot do that. No. Because it goes against the potential energy of the barricade. So, can it open locked mechanical doors? Yes. Can it open barricaded doors? And the answer to that is it depends on the barricade. And some people might be like, oh, that's just stupid. Like, some barricades work, but others don't. And it's like, you can throw a bunch of rice and a vampire would be compelled to count it. But if you threw a bunch of, like, flower petals or something, it wouldn't. Like, oh, it can't cross a salt barrier. But what if it's on the opposite side of the world? Where, like, technically it's contained within the salt barrier, but the salt barrier is a full, like, how does direction work with salt barriers? If it's on an airplane and it flies over a giant salt barrier, is it like what happened? Like, I don't know. It doesn't matter. The whole thing is that it seems stupid, but the physics are what the physics are. And so that's how it's able just to get into doors. Locked doors, regular locked doors. So if you're a schizo who barricades your door, then you're not safe, but like the rules for Herusich. Hmm. 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 Oh, here's a good one. Here's a good one. It can't die if there is a kind of crying mirror facing it, which includes the screens of devices. Why? Something along the lines of being connected to the dark plane. Okay. Okay. So we have how the monster works for the most part. I need to get into I need to get into why does it kill and how does it kill? Because it needs in both like at least the how it kills needs to be like gruesome. Like Miss Robinson, the sweet old widow neighbor who was like, "Oh wow, I'll bring you guys some cookies for Christmas or something, so Santa's happy or something. I don't know. I'm a sweet old lady." And then you see her just like get eviscerated or something. But like, why? You know, why? Why do evil things do evil stuff? What is the rule here? I like the idea. I like the idea. Hold on, let me just go over here. So, why you evil? That's what this is going to be called. Why you evil? And the first thing that comes to mind, because there's all this physics stuff, the first thing that comes to mind is God's. No, God is mistake. God has mistakes. I don't really. My grammar fucking sucks. God's mistakes. So, and that also goes into the name of Hiroshich, because God doesn't make mistakes. But seemingly everyone else is like, no, that's why it does what it does. Like it's a mistake from God, and it knows that, but God won't admit to. I don't know. I don't know. That's more different lore stuff. So let's let's do lore. Let's do some lore. So the lore is proto universe. Universe. Proto universe. A proto universe with proto physics. And let's call it the let's call it the spaghetti universe. Why is it called the spaghetti universe? Because God was basically throwing different things at the wall and seeing what stuck. God testing different things and seeing what worked. To do like throwing the Yeti at the wall to see if it is. So, proto universe, proto physics, and it's the spaghetti universe because this was just God trying out different things, seeing what it liked, seeing what it different liked, seeing what worked with what. Now, eventually, I mean, let me zoom in. Nope. Eventually, the spaghetti universe was wrapped to make way for this one. Yeah, Spaghetti Universe was wrapped to make way for this one. We're basically, and I'm gonna put this in quotes. This in quotes. Basically, the lights of that universe was turned off so that God could say, let there be light in our. Kind of looks like that really looks like it says hours. You know, this is the lore, right? Why does this weird thing that has weird physics properties and stuff, why does it do what it does? That's because it's essentially an abandoned creation of God that lives in a super fucked up universe. And then it eventually was able to find its way to this one where it's like, let me just fuck the shit up of all these other beings, because why are they the ones that God chose? Something along those lines, I don't know. Maybe I'm gonna do something. Okay. Now the so it's like this. It's like this, and by the light, it is the light of God. Light of God. Now, there is a full universe. Full universe. That looks kind of like this. Bing, 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 bing. Zoop. Zoop. You have to go. Then. Zoop. Zoop. Now these are full spaces, with this one being the proto-universe, and this one being ours. Now, the Big Bang of this one was just God being here. So God is over here. Right, this needs to be more looking down. There we go. Where it's perceiving all of this universe. Now, God physically moved. Like, this is still one universe. This is still one big universe. But God used to be over here where it did all this stuff. And then it just like moved really far away. And then it's like, okay, over here it's gonna work like this. So yeah, by the light of God, it means like God's perspective, which has properties in of itself. So when God went away from this universe, it started to when God left this universe, it started to decay and become akin to the void. And so the quote unquote physical beings of the proto-universe, which by physical I mean like embodiment, like physical embodiments of physics. So the physical properties of this universe that was abandoned manifested into more intelligent beings, basically evolved into more intelligent beings, which then traveled to the universe where God is at to like fuck shit up. There we go. Cool. That's a lot. So, mm, mm, so essentially, God made the first universe. I mean, from the perspective of God, it's not actually multiple universes. It's kind of like a kid playing with a bunch of different toys and stuff in a sandbox. And it's like kind of like testing things out, and it's like, okay, these are the toys I want. I want to do something new, but with only these toys. I feel like doing it like this would be better than having them all together. And so God basically got a few of the toys, went to a different sandbox, and started playing with the toys there. Actually, I really like that metaphor. And then the toys in the previous one, like from our perspective, each sandbox is a just a universe. From God's perspective, it's just like I walked up, grabbed the toys I wanted, and I got up, grabbed the toys I wanted, walked like 5 feet and then plopped it down in a new sandbox. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna use that metaphor in here. Metaphor time. I like that. It's not actually the physics themselves that are like getting up and going over to the new universe. No, it's the physics kind like the embodiments of those physics literally just go travel there. But in the metaphor, it's just, oh, the toys became alive and grew a consciousness, and they didn't like the new universe. And so they just started thinking, I hate the new universe, I hate the new universe, really loud. And those thoughts eventually traveled to the new universe. Something along the lines of that. Okay, okay, so we have the backstory of how Hirsich works. We have the physics of how Hirsich works, and a few rules on how Hirsich works. And now we need to go into the Big Bang. Because all of this, the original part, the reason why I did the first part over here was to explain exactly how it would go down, but then I got distracted a bunch. So, town layout is basically just a grid. So, town do 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 road 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 road, and then just the town is basically surrounded completely by a forest except for a few roads that go out of the town. And the town in particular is just a grid of just like house. Or actually, do it like this. House. 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 Street. House. 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 Street. So the town has quite a bit of land that is just next to forest. Now, the way this works is the beings of the forest they move just any which way from the forest onto the town. And so what they do is they each bam, 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 bam. Ah, blah, 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 blah. And then they travel to the next one. Bam, 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 bam. Ah, travel to the next one. Bam, 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 bam. They are systematically going to each and every house starting from the center. There goes you. There go everyone here, and then they go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into the town. Because these beings, they just don't care. They're not trying to cause fear or anything. They just want to kill as much as possible. That's literally just the point. Now, let's introduce some more. I'm about to say, let's introduce some more physics. It's more like, it's made up physics, but still. And this is actually kind of inspired from that one Creepcast thing. So basically, the lore of these beings. Let me just go and go. The proto-universe is gone, like physically, but not forgotten, which is like a key aspect, because the rules of this universe is that if God forgets about you, you literally never existed. If God forgets about you, then you never existed at all. So that's a good universe rule. The moment God forgets about you, it's like you never existed at all. Now, the beings, they know this, and they actually don't care. They don't care if they stop existing. But they would like to inflict this non existence on people. And so, they do this attack. To erase the town from existence. Now, I don't really know the particular physics of how it works, but they want to kill everyone in this town so that they can just completely erase it, turning what used to be a town into just crossroads. That's what they want to do. If they systematically kill every single being in the town, and then do some weird ritual or something, they can literally just make it so that the town never existed in the first place. And so you might be thinking, what was the point of the blizzard then? Like, what's the point of having the blizzard makes tracks disappear and stuff? And that's actually for chapter 2. So, chapter 1, you're a kid, you're doing minigame stuff, you're imaginative, you're doing chores and stuff, you're talking to your parents and your neighbors, and everything's a good time. You kind of see things in the background, but not really. And then you get out of school early because it's going to be nighttime soon, and Christmas break or something starts, so everyone's home from school. Then the beings attack. Will they just do the? Oh! Wait! That's actually another thing. That's actually another thing. Do. I need overnight job. So Blizzard cuts off power. Well, it's the blizzard that does it. So no can. Parentheses. That's the whole purpose. They literally want to. So this the point is to slowly erase the universe out of existence. So the monster's plan is like, let's just destroy the new universe. So all of this so far, all of this is just lore and how physics and stuff works. Um, and because they are doing it systematically, and because Towns American and stuff is grid shape, that is why it is a bunch of like yelling and commotion and stuff, and then quietness. Like all at once, they do one full set of houses, one full outer rim of houses, and then quiet, and they wait a bit, and then they do the next one, and then quiet, and then they wait a bit, and then they do the next one. Until eventually people start to like, what the fuck? Like there's like, basically after like the third or something time. Yeah, let me write this down. After the third time, people start to wise up and big commotion happens. I need water. Where's water? Oh, let me play some music or something. Oh, you see the person playing in the background. I never knew that. What? Hold on, I want to see this. Interesting. I never saw that before. I literally just never noticed. Also, I'm listening to FNF versus Tabby X, the genocide one. It's one of my favorite songs. I really like it. And pause this real quick. I love listening to songs. Even stuff like FNF versus Tabby X. Because just listening to it and your brain just makes up literally whatever. A lot of it is really good and I really like it. So, one of the things oh, no. Let me tap on this so I can actually. There we go. One of the things I like from when I was just in Imagination Land is how are they able to travel across a gap of infinity? The few steps for God, but not for everything else. And the how is simply this. Let me put on my glove thingy because I took it off. Where are you? Where is my glove? Not that one, the good one. The one that doesn't cover the fingertip. Don't grab another glove. There has to be a glove in here somewhere. One of the good ones, though. Probably, this one might work. What's the way this one? Nope. Oh my god. Where the actual fuck is that glove? I don't like drawing without it because oh, that glove works. Okay. Okay. Here we go. So the reason why the conscience physics of the proto universe is able to affect ours, it simply goes like this. Imagine a place, a million miles away. It's literally as simple as that. Imagine a place a million miles away. Because you just can. You can imagine a place a mile away. I can imagine a place exactly 3 miles away because I've been there. I can literally just imagine it because I know what it's like. And so the reason why the proto-reality are basically able to send something along the lines of thought demons to our reality is simply because it's super easy. You can imagine faster than light. You can like and imagine faster than light. For example, it takes like 15 minutes or something for the. Hold on. How long does moonlight take? Oh, I was way off. Okay. Well, let's just do sun then, because that's 8 minutes. I know that one. Wait, why did I think the moon one was 15 minutes when I know the sun one is only 8 minutes? That's weird. Anyway, I can just imagine the sun instantly. My position now to the sun, the fastest speed the universe would allow is 8 minutes. But despite that, I can just imagine faster than light. I can imagine the sun, which is longer than it takes for the sun light to reach me. Or something, I don't know. That's how. Fuck, what was the other thing? What was the other thing? Oh. So I want this to be a whole universe, but that aside, so the weird physics of proto universe is why there's that. And then also and so this is basically what I was thinking. The whole you can imagine a place a million miles away, which is a lot faster than the speed of light, as to why they're even able to get here if there's an infinity between us, accompanied with them slowly evolving over time. So, like, they used to be ephemeral things that would steal that were able to steal a sock or something from your laundry as a way to slowly, and like, they evolve into like more humanoid things. So at first it's just like weird rabid monster thingies, but slowly they evolve to like be like vampires or werewolves or something, or the fairies that like replace children or something with their own children. Like, the way they start to erase reality becomes more, they become more like, I don't know, like, so they just do it better. like erasing entire towns, like replacing an entire human being with basically a fake imagination being that isn't part of the real universe. And so, from the perspective of God, there's just no one there. And if they keep doing like they're trying so many different plans and stuff to erase reality, and eventually one of them might win. Eventually, if you replace enough people with fake people, and a fake person and a regular person has a baby, the baby's always going to be fake. And eventually, you'll just have only fake people, and then God won't even like, oh, yeah, it's whatever. So the reason why vampires and stuff have to do the weird counting thing and holy water and stuff damages them and garlic damages them and they have to count rice and they can't enter unless invited. Like all of those weird rules and stuff can be easily explained away by abandoned physics became conscience and are like because the physics of that proto universe is broken and weird, the imaginations of them interacting with our regular universe has to like abide by some pretty weird rules. And then just part listening to the genocide song was also just like imagining just like battles and stuff. It was whatever. So I'm gonna continue listening to the song and hopefully something new arrives. Where's my headphones? Right there. Low-key getting way too off track with the lore. um, okay. 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 So, this is still all Mighty Cruem. But this is gonna be like chapter 7 or something I'm thinking of. So let me just, oh nope, I have to click in the thing. Where did my gloves go? Where the, this glove then. I'm running out of gloves. I don't know where I keep putting them. Okay. So the imagining and stuff, right? And let's do this. I don't know the name of the organization, so let's just put, let's zoom in more. Let's just put the organization. Now, not the SCP Foundation, but a lot of stuff is going to be similar. For example, secrecy. Why secrecy? Why secrecy? And it's going to be kind of like the Red King. So, you have this universe, and you have our universe. You have the line between them. So, let's do P and O for Proto and Rs. So, the P universe is basically just imagining, and it's like throwing, like, wee, ching, 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 wee, ching, 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 ching. So these are the thoughts. Now, in our universe, these thoughts in our universe, these thoughts congregate and eventually manifest as a creature slash phenom 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 oh, like I heavily misspelled that, as a creature or phenomenon based on the specific amalgamation. And these thoughts, the thoughts make it so that our universe doesn't move farther away from the Ocho. So their thoughts. It's kind of like a boat, kind of like a boat and a raft, which is just like some sticks. Now the boat can move by its sails. The raft can't move at all. Now, what the raft does, so proto cars, what the raft does by sending these, and they aren't doing this intentionally. They aren't, when they first start doing this, they don't know what they're doing. What they do is basically throw a rope, a grappling hook, and it pulls them along so that they don't move farther away from our boat. Now, the original thing that I'm trying to talk about by doing all this is the why secrecy. So, the more people that are aware of the proto universe and how it works. Eventually, speed up the collision time. So, there's their universe, our universe. They are throwing hooks, which just keep them moving the same speed. But if people on our side start throwing hooks, then they actually start moving closer together, which is bad. And that's why the organization, that's why they keep so much secrecy. Because the less people that are in, the slower, and there's still like basically an infinity between the two universes. But better safe than sorry. And another thing, if the other universe is able to hurt us, why can't we hurt it back? And the reason is actually pretty straightforward, and it's kind of a metaphor. You can't attack gravity itself by writing a mean note. That's why. Because it's not like beings like us imagining stuff and sending it to our universe. No, it is literally like the laws of physics itself becoming intelligent doing that. It's a whole ass law of the universe against you. And it's not our universe, but it doesn't change that it's still like an aspect of the fundamental aspect of that universe grew consciousness and is now throwing this, which is why it's able to manifest things in our universe. So, you imagining really hard, oh, I'm gonna imagine a being that's gonna attack this universe and it's based off of blah 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 or whatever, however it works. It's not gonna do shit. It's just gonna do more grappling hooks without actually doing anything. because you can't attack gravity by writing a mean thing on a note. And that goes into another thing. Are the monsters actually alive slash conscious? And this is when I started, because I was listening to the song, I was imagining stuff, and this is when I got too far down the line. Conscience. The answer, not for a long time. Based off of the premise of you can't imagine a ruly, ruly conscious being yet. So as it evolves and stuff, eventually there are going to be beings that like have their own autonomy. But at the current moment, for at least chapter 1 and 2, the beings might as well just be super advanced and kind of weird math problems manifested as like, I don't know, the chupacabra or something. So they aren't truly alive. They aren't truly conscious or anything. And like you attack them and they bleed and stuff, but they're basically automatons. Yeah. Let me. For now, basically automatons. But later on, I do want a whole thing where like they eventually start becoming alive and well, I want there to be kind of like a revolution against their home universe because it's a place they've never been. Um, you know. And also, I want to expand the physics of how this works, like this. How does it work? Let's do it like this. Let's do then so this is the proto-universe. This is our universe. My handwriting sucks. So, in the proto-universe, physical aspects of the universe, which is basically just math and stuff, it grew consciousness and it's sending hate. So, I don't really know what, like, I'm not gonna expand at the current moment because I'm lazy on what in particular the physics of that universe is. And so I'll just do like stuff from our universe. So time and I don't know, just I guess like general concepts inside and equal, and let's do one more. And there's ETI and cancer, I guess. So these aspects of the universe are sending just general hate towards ours. General hate. Or actually, let's do it like this. So these beings are like, okay, this universe, and it's essentially just like kind of ish random spots in the universe that it sends it to. Or and so because there's like a huge void in the way of like that doesn't have space or time, when they send hate from everything's perspective, it goes in basically a straight line to its destination. That's what it all does. And I purposely didn't make these like straight lines from here. But from their perspective, it basically looks like this. Have the thing, let's call it A. I don't know, hold on. I need that space. You have the thing, let's call it A, and it sends its hate. And then here's the thingy for one, and here's the thingy for another. From its perspective, it just goes straight towards the destination. But there's like basically a void thingy. A void thingy in the way. Ooh. So it sends its hate, and the hate goes every which way. Really follows nothing. Oh wait, hold on, I did that wrong. Really follows nothing. I think I did that one, so let's do this one. So they basically become entangled. Now, due to this entanglement, what looks from their perspective to be like one location or whatever, it's actually a bunch of mixed things. Now, these quote unquote posts, so let's actually expand what I'm talking about. Let's say this one is E, this one is C, this one is I, this one is T. So on their own, if a singular thing comes out, it just does nothing. It's like an immune system and antibodies and stuff. This protein in particular, the T protein on its own does nothing. The I protein on its own does nothing. The E protein on its own does nothing. The C protein on its own does nothing. Now, in this haziness or whatever, things get combined. So let's say the thing that's combined over here spells out ice. And so the physical manifestation, based on the essential programming, based on the physical properties of these physics coming together in here, they come out as a fully kind of formed thingy, ice. Now let's say ice just makes things colder, like you enter a room and it's suddenly super cold. It is kind of weak. Doing a bunch of random stuff with random proteins is mostly going to give you ineffective things that does nothing, weak things that kind of do something, but not really. And I know that there's sight, but I'm trying to find a different one than sight. Oh, ECT, etc. ECT. Hmm, also kind of weak. It's more like of a condensation, but some of them, when they combine, do a full-on powerful thing. Sight. Powerful. Now, because of the way this works, the vast majority of the things that come out on the other side are just a small nuisance. Oh, I hope I spelled that correctly. But rarely, well, I really spelled that wrong. But rarely you get something. So most of them, like 90% of the beings, are just like goblins or something. Like small nuisances, they steal your left sock or something. Like you barely even notice it. But sometimes you get something like the Wendigo. Chupacabra. Eesh. Probably super misspelled that. Bigfoot. Mm, I don't really. Hold on. Encrypted. Kraken. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, okay. And that's kind of how it works. Now, as these, and most of these are going to be like animalistic and stuff first starting out. Animalistic, doing stupid small things, following stupid small rules. Only steals your left sock, but when you're not looking or something, like just small stuff like that. But as these guys get more intelligent over time, so let me just create a whole ass new diagram thingy with the thing from here, and let me make it bigger so I can like do more letters and stuff. Proto cars. Now, I don't want this to be like the void. I'm not too sure if this is the void or something else. I'm not going to name it yet. And so let me just do letters. So A E I O. I'm just gonna do that. And then T is always a good one. T E P E. Let's do one more. Do F. Mm, yeah. Uh, yeah, F. So as they grow more intelligent and they can kind of imagine what's on the other side. It's really difficult to tell, but they kind of start to realize and learn. So what they do is they either combine the hate to create a new one. So you have that, and you have a singular one that like goes and then it gets tangled in with the rest of it to make, like, most of the time, like 9 times out of 10, it won't get it right. The randomness won't go in its favor, but sometimes you'll get food. Sometimes you'll get sometimes you combine these two, and it's just whoosh, 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 whoosh. And that gets tangled in as well to go with them. You get diet. I'm gonna need to make a big word. Hmm. Deft, I think is the word. Hmm. I don't know. The whole point is, as they get more smarter, they realize. Hold on, let's do this. Or actually, where is the best? Yeah, the below. As they get more smart, they realize which quote unquote proteins add up to something powerful, or no, too low, or has the most valid combinations. Kind of like act. So like ACT, you act. TAC, tic tac, or like tactic, or like tac. Um, CAT, cat. TCA. I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, the whole point is, over time they're like, okay, no matter what, if we do these three together, no matter what combination comes out the other side, it's always going to be something that works in our favor in a good, feasible way. That's how it is. And over time, the proteins and stuff get more complicated and complicated as they evolve. Okay. Now it's kind of. I'm gonna go back to listening to music. I'm kind of getting bored of the song. There's like this clown one I like. That's like has similar vibe. I'm gonna try to find that one. FNF clown. Tricky. I think stage 3, 4 are the ones. FNF clown. Stage 3. Okay, I can only go to the full videos, so I have to do chapters. This one. Okay, okay. So I might as well fully get into later on. Oh no, I keep forgetting I have to click the app to zoom in, because if I don't, it'll just zoom in on the YouTube. So, these both go eventually into it evolving. So, for future brainstorming, the manifestations eventually not became, become, let me zoom in more, come alive. That's one. Two would be at some point in time, they, as in the the physical properties, so I'll just do the psi, the psi or something. This is work in progress. Stop sending things over. Oh, bad B. Because they are working on their magnum opus, which is basically a god to us. And and do whatever in our reality. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna continue with Cool. Hold on. That's actually okay. This is actually a idea I've had for a while about a universe killing gun. And that's more of a series I want to do on something else that's completely different. But that got me to thinking, how would they do it? To which the answer goes, oh, shut. Oh my. That randomly started playing the YouTube video, but like super fast forward, and that scared the shit out of me. Okay. So, how does the organization create yeesh, not anonymous, fuck, not anonymous, what was it? Anonymous, like one means like there's no identity. Fuck, hold on, hold on. Anonymous, no, anonymous is like hidden. Anonymous, out of the ordinary. hold on. Out of the ordinary. Synonym. Abnormal. Ah, it's close. Anonymous. Is that something different? Hold on. Anonymous versus anonymous. It's just the same shit. Okay, whatever. How does the organization create create how to do objects of power? And it goes like this, so I need a bit more space. Nope. So, proto-universe, ours, and let's do this as organization. So what they do is they send stuff. Well, it has to, there's like still the static. But instead of just drawing all that, I'll just do like this. Oh, nope, I need a big one. Has to go through the static. Where it gets tangled up, and let's say... Oh, nope, damn it. Stop. So, let's do... So it's a bit way different. It's really dumbed down. So this one that's being sent is just straight line that way. This one being sent is curve. This one being sent is opposite curve. And this one being sent is line this way. Now it goes and gets tangled up, and on the outside, it's actually just like nonsense. Like most of it is just like nonsense, just unintelligible, doesn't mean anything, sputters out of existence. But sometimes it creates a kind of being in the other universe. Like it's just math and stuff, and the math eventually makes an equation. Cold, ice. Now, the equation does whatever. So for ice, for example, it's just like, I don't know, it's a thing that collects temperature, like it's lower temperature, and so it's cold relative to everything else, and it takes the energy away from everything else. So it creates an equation over here, which when done, does something, and it emits. I have to expand this more. And it emits something back through. Now, it's like you have to do this a lot. Like they really need to find, like their whole thing is we need to keep testing and find which variations of what we send and what quantity is guaranteed that no matter what, it gets something, and that something sends back something else. So it does all this, and let's say the thing that comes out the other side that they want, mostly nonsense, but one thing is heat or something. And so the organization, through doing all of this weird jibber jabber nonsense, creates an object of power that just emits heat. And they use that as like a power source or something. So infinite power. That's basically what the organization does. They're trying to send things over. Like it's always really weird because it's like writing a code in JavaScript and then and then putting the hard drive the code is on in a blender and then reconstituting it and trying to read that code in C++, and then maybe the C++ code is actually something and is legible and is actually an equation, and then that equation is done, and then the answer to that equation, or the multiple answers, are put in a blender again, and then reconstituted again, and then in JavaScript or whatever the original code I used was, reads it. Most of the time, it's going to be absolute fucking nonsense. But sometimes the equation that you want actually appears on the other system, and then the output of that equation survives the blending process and gives you something that you actually want in return. And that's basically how the organization creates objects of power. Now I'm going to continue listening to the music. Actually, hold on, let me. I don't know what happened. Okay, okay, actually. Okay, okay. So, based on all of that, and this song, "Where's Hank?" Blah 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 blah. Three clowns in a hole. You just seeing it glitch out and stuff. And makes me go like this. So, and also the whole thing earlier of the JavaScript and C++. So, operating system P, operating system O. And it's full-on thing. Now, this one is kind of just broken stuff. You know, God took out fundamental aspects of that universe to use for ours. Now, ours is like pristine. And essentially, this whole thing can be summarized as this universe is sending pieces of information, ones and zeros, that might turn into a virus for our universe. Now, what this virus does is it eats away, removing parts of the universe. It's basically like literally every single thing warps reality in some way. Every single thing fundamentally breaks reality in some way or another. And so, and what it tries to do is it's like a regular machine, right? You have like data storage, do SSD, and you have the GPU, and you have the motherboard, and you have the like CPU, I don't know, and you have the graphics card, and this thing hopes, because if you take away enough things of reality, like if you randomly like mess up the equation of gravity itself for the whole universe, you might just hard brick the machine. That's the plan. The plan is to hard brick the other universe so that God abandons it. That's the plan. And so it takes away parts of the universe. And for the most part, it's just like the storage, that's just the SSD. But randomly, it will create something that eats away at some part of the. Let me actually do it like this. Some part of the universe, and hoping that it will just crack and break and spread and brick. And also, wait, hold on. Part of this, part of future stuff. or back. Oh, I super zoomed out or something. Hold on. Zoom, 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 zoom. 100%. There we go. Oh, wait. Another thing. Maybe here. Another thing. So the the creatures all warp reality one way or another. And sometimes it's far reaching. Nope. No I to decay. And a bit weird. And this is what comes to mind, okay? So, scenario goes like this. You got a being that's evil, and you have a regular person who's like, oh no, um, oh no, let me call the cops. Now, this being like has weird properties and stuff. It's kind of like how some animals can see extra colors and stuff. And so this being is kind of able to figure out that this is going to be a problem for it. And so it does something against that. Now, because it can affect reality in like widespread ways and warp reality, it could do a few things. So let's do it like this. That's that. Let's say this is the police station. And so this being is like, magic power. It doesn't actually do that. But like from our perspective, basically, it's like magic powers. Now, a few things can happen. One, this turns off. Two, the signal gets scrambled or canceled out or something. Three, the police station literally explodes or is engulfed in flames or something. See how it went from like 2 to 10 just like that? That is the point. The point is, based off of this, is that these beings, just like how they're able just to open a locked door, when they're like, oh, when they do whatever physics thing to stop the police from showing up, you don't know what's going to happen. Your phone could just turn off, not work anymore. The signal can just not connect. Sorry, the number you've dialed cannot be contacted, or whatever the thing says. Or the other thing of the police station just blowing up. And the whole point of that, of including that, is just so that you, like the people in the story or whatever, in the video game, I want to make it a game, not a story. The people in the story, like at one point in time you have to like deal with something, and then something happens and it super escalates, and it's like how the like what the actual fuck is happening. And then like later it's like, oh yeah, no, the thing like try to stop you from contacting the thing try to stop you from getting backup, and whatever power or physics thing it did literally caused the entire station to explode. Or like all of the money in our accounts to like evaporate. And then we defaulted on our electricity bill, and so we weren't able to receive any calls. Or it just made a switch in an office go off, which caused someone to trip because they couldn't see. And that like did a Rue Goldberg type thing that caused I don't know, whatever it is. That's the point. I'm gonna go back to listening. Expurgation. Oh yeah, let me explain the inspiration. So the inspiration for let me get in here for this in particular, it's during the expurgation song. A being, the same clown being, appears top of the screen upside down. I think upside down, and it pulls the tracker of who's winning in its own favor. It basically breaks reality in its own favor and an extra dimensional way, which it usually wouldn't like. Usually, the beings in there can't do that stuff, and that's how that came to be. Also, the song's over, so do 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 do. Let's do Ghost Fusion collab. Do 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 boom boom ba-doom ba-doom boom boom ba-doom ba-doom bow 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 ba-da-da-da bow bow down 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 bow down 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 bow down 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 ba-down down 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 bow 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 down bow down ba down down da da ba da 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 ba da 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 ba da ba da ba da 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 ba da 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 ba da ba da 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 ba da 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 ba da 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 ba da ba da ba da ba da bow down, 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 down, bow down, 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 down. Bow down, 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 ba na da na 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 da da. Bow, 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 ba down. Ba-down, bow, down, ba-down, down, 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 down. Bow, down, 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 bow, down, down, down. Ba-down, down, 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 down. Bow, 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 ba-da-da-da-down. Bow, down, 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 bow, down, down. Bow, down, 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 down. Down, 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 down. Bow, bow, bow down, bow down, bow down, bow, ba-na-na-na-na-na-na, bow, bow, bow down, down, bow down, down, now down. Give it up. Ba-dum, bum, bum, ba-down. Boom, 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 back down, boom, 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 down, 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 bow, bow, bow. Bow down, down, dump it down, dump it down, dump it down, 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 down. You know, hold on. What's this? You know, weirdly enough, I there's a part of me that kind of doesn't like some aspects of this because it like has some of my real views on how reality works in it, like how universes work, where because time's a big it's whatever, it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. I'm just thinking about how actually hold on, I can't. I'm gonna try to take a picture and then import it because I did something similar to. Hold on, hold on, hold on. This one. I yeah, this my personal view on reality is too much. Too much. Too much. It inflects it does too much on my decision making on what I create and stuff. Whew, okay, so all of this is done. I just need to fill in this little area. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think of what happens. You hear the skirming and stuff getting closer, and then I'm trying to. So I have all this lore and stuff, but now I'm struggling on the actual gameplay. Okay, okay. So the fundamental weakness of the Herusich, fundamental weakness, is that if you're inside with a barricaded door, it can't get you at all. Like, it's it's the equivalent of a vampire. Like, ah, if only I could break down this door, but I can't. If only I could open the window, but I can't. You barricading the door makes it completely powerless. Hmm. But I mean, they are kind of intelligent, right? They are kind of intelligent. Okay, okay, okay. Hmm. 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 So this is what I'm thinking, right? So the gameplay is like you're in the living room or something, chilling with your family, and the power goes off, and it's like, oh, I guess it's early bedtime. Um, because we don't really have lights or anything. We have like a flashlight, but that's kind of it. And so, and you hear like general stuff in the distance, and you're just like in your room. You're not really going to bed or whatever, and you're looking at your window when you see something across the street. And but how do I need I don't know. I'll save it for tomorrow. I'll save it for tomorrow. I mean, I did a lot of work today. Look how much stuff I did. That's a lot. I'll save it for tomorrow. This Yeah, it's saved.